Hi friends, and welcome to my channel. This is a podcast where I enjoy sharing my insights, and today I'm talking about treating the symptoms and expecting to feel better. This is a game I played with myself for many years, not understanding what you might call the underlying cause, although that's not the best word for it, because the underlying cause is not sick. It is simply just a misdirection of perception. So, we're going to be talking about circumstances as if they were symptoms of something much larger. If you don't feel well in body, mind, and in spirit, yes, there is something about the internal condition, the emotional condition, the confusion within, which is in many ways projecting symptoms. Manifestations are symptomatic. So the evidence is systemic. And so what we do is we self-diagnose ourselves. And now, diagnosis is an interesting word. The root of that word is gnosis, Gnosis. Gnosis. And so a diagnosis, the word dia, the prefix dia means through, like a membrane, through. So knowing through the symptoms, getting to the root. But we don't do that. We preoccupy ourselves with the symptoms, everything out there. And we want treatment for that. We want treatment for whatever feels wrong. And so we diagnose that relationship, that situation, that our age, our ability, our skill, it's all a misdiagnosis. Because that's not the underlying cause of your problem. And even saying that there is a problem means that the problem arises. We'll leave that thought for just a second. And so once you diagnose the problem and say, that's it, it's my job, it's my health, it's my financial situation, it's my age, you name it. That's not the cause. That's a result of something. And so you look at that and you then give yourself a prognosis. Now, gnosis, again, Gnosis means knowledge, and pro means before. Prognosis looks bad. Looks like things are really going to tank for you. So a diagnosis is outward looking. Is a problem looking for a cause, and a prognosis is an ending looking for evidence. And so you are in a perpetual state of paranoia. Now, this is what's interesting about being a human, is that we have this sense about us that something is about to happen. It's called deja vu. It's called preeminence. It's whatever it is. There's always this sensation that something is about to occur. Everybody can kind of agree on that. what I've noticed is that my perception of what was about to occur was ominous, spooky. And so I had become vigilant about the unknown. Do you see? This expectation that the shit is about to hit the fan. What? And it's this constant looking around. A total preoccupation with the evidence, which is already a done deal. And it's an overlay of a diagnosis. And that this is my problem. That. And I'm putting out there. Because it is a complete and total illusion of thinking that the evidence is causing the condition. But the condition is there. It's already done by the time you notice it. So you see how this is a misdiagnosis? Because you haven't gotten into the preeminence. What this feeling of something about to happen, which is called anticipation. This is what you might call foreknowledge. What goes before me. Now here's an interesting thought about the word present. Present. There is that prefix pre again. Present. Interesting. Present. It's getting quiet enough to realize how uptight you are about what's about to happen. And so you develop maybe some kind of agnosticism. This is what an agnostic is. An agnostic will not acknowledge anything other than evidence. So even the agnostic is skeptical about information like this. There is something that goes before. There is something about getting your priorities straight. That this fear of what's about to happen is nothing but pretense. There's that word pre again. Pretense. Getting uptight before anything happens. Present is being absolutely and completely comported on the preeminence of here and now. And when the language ceases, when the vision clears, when you close your eyes, when you relax, when you become absolutely in the center of gravity in your body, the mind stops diagnosing problems that it is creating. The mind is diagnosing itself and giving you a prognosis of doom. That's what's called insidious. One side of the brain is telling a story. The other side of the brain, I'm saying the brain, I don't know what this is. One side of the brain is telling the story. The other side of the brain is interpreting it, giving you a future scenario, interpreting it, and it's a loop that the only way out of is to investigate what I call the underlying cause. See, we all have this depth within us, this capacity to relax in the face of fear, because fear is simply just a sensation of tension against that which we do not know, gnosis. And real knowledge, capital R, has nothing in it. It contains nothing. No word, no nothing. And I have spent a lot of my life trying to prove that I exist. You think people are trying to prove that God exists? We are all trying to prove our own existence. I am here. I exist. I'm real. That's the whole premise about religion. Well, we're gonna make God real. So you need to make God real. When you make God real, you create an image of some being, a being, rather than being real. Let's keep it real, being yourself. You see, that's enough to know. That's enough to know you're real. Is to be. See, the sensation of being, to me, is a low-level form of electricity. There's enough buzz in being alive to know that you exist. Why create more pain for yourself? More additives, more stories, more stuff. There's already enough buzz in existence itself. There's enough negative and enough positive to create a sensation of being where you can close your eyes and feel that, what Emerson calls the low circuits, the divine circuits, low, enough to know you're alive. And Mr. Rogers said it best. It's such a good feeling to know you're alive. Just being, there's a hum of positivity that sheds to you that as the underlying cause there is a preference for abundance, not negativity. That's real knowing, is trusting what you don't know. And to know that you don't know, that's omniscience, omnignosis, full coming together that you are a whole creature. Nothing's missing. The outside, the so-called outside world, might appear incomplete, imperfect, rocky, swinging back and forth. But that's the illusion. You don't want to get overly involved in that, trying to fix what is fundamentally being fixed in you. Being is fixed. You're here and now, whole. That's fixed. That's a fixed reality. There's no more adding to it. There's no taking away from it. There's no killing it. That is the permanent nature. That is the part of you that can recognize the temporal nature. And that duality can't be split. But you begin to see that the underlying cause, the permanent, the eternal, the everlasting, the potential, is demonstrating through and as you. And it's not the other way around. You can't change the demonstration. You see? But you can sit in the seat of existence and just feel enough peace. It's just enough to know you're alive. Isn't that something? That existence is so innocent that it requires no effort, no proof, because you are the living proof of that which cannot be seen. The underlying cause, which needs no treatment. Just a deeper understanding, that's all. Most likely, you are looking in the wrong direction. You are seeing from the wrong perspective. And that in and of itself is not even wrong. See, there's nothing wrong fundamentally. That's the good news. That the underlying cause is uncaused, unstoppable, has no beginning and has no end, has no parent, has no opponent, is complete, whole, perfect. Being is perfect. No more need to rearrange the symptoms of being. When being is equanimous, peaceful, joyful, playful, and aware, there are no more symptoms that bother you anymore. You become detached from that. You're no longer overly involved in the symptoms that seem to be bothering you, because you're the unbothered. And I hope that that's given you some pause to the underlying cause, to think deeply about treating the symptoms. Leave them alone. If you have a sore, don't pick at it. Don't pick at your symptoms. Focus on the underlying cause. Go within and see how tight you are. Confused. Not sure what you want. Get your priorities straight. And that's that deep dive within. Touching the uncaused cause, the root of all being. Getting in contact with the underlying cause. The underlying nature, which cannot be touched, bothered, sickened. It's perfect. Once you dive into that space, nothing can touch you, bother you, sicken you, disturb you. Not even your own circumstances. My name is Ryan Hebert. I hope you enjoyed these insights. I hope they made you think deeply more about your fundamental nature. Please check out my blog. It's called mymorningmotivator.com.